Okay, this will be the final video for the chapter on monopolistic competition and oligopoly. And just one more example of game theory. If you haven't done this already, if you're watching this video, make sure you practice these questions using the worksheets that I'm posting online. In the past, for whatever reason, students in some cases had no trouble at all with game theory, and in some cases done very poorly. I've had some of my best students not understand game theory and do very bad on the exam. So I would say just make sure you're practicing it as much as you can. So here's just one more version of a game theory oligopoly choice. You've got two firms, Coke and Pepsi, and they're trying to decide whether or not to donate some money to charities. And you can think about why this would be a good example of oligopoly and game theories. Coke and Pepsi, they're not the only soft drink producers, but they produce such a large share of the amount of soft drinks that exist out there that they could be described as an oligopoly, okay? And as such, they care about what the other competitor does. So what if we found out that Pepsi was giving tons of money to charities, Coke wasn't doing anything? You could sort of imagine why that would hurt Coke, because it looks like that they're basically stingy or that they're self-interested in some way. So let's think about what they should do. These numbers here represent profits for a year. And so they're deciding what they should do. Not only do they care about what they do themselves, but they also care about what their competitor does. So anytime you see a question like this, you're going to start off by thinking about dominant strategies. It really doesn't even matter what my question is. The first thing you're going to do is think about dominant strategies in all cases. So let's start there. Let's think about what Coke would do. Okay? Pepsi could either keep their profits or they could donate some to charity. Let's assume that Pepsi keeps all their charities, okay? So this is our choice. In that scenario, Coke would want to give to charity because 60 billion is more than 50 billion. The other possibility, maybe Pepsi gives to charity, okay? In this case, Coke is choosing between $0 billion and $8 billion in profits. So Coke should give to charities regardless. Keep in mind that Coke doesn't know what Pepsi is going to do. They can't see all of these numbers. Okay, so Coke is going to give to charities regardless of what Pepsi does. That makes it a dominant strategy, what you're going to do regardless of what your competitor does. Now let's think about Pepsi. They don't know what they're going to do, the other firm is going to do. So they have to go through the possibilities. Coke could choose to keep all their profits, not give any money to charities. In that case, Pepsi is choosing between keeping their profits or giving to charities. 100 billion is bigger than 60 billion, so they would prefer to give to charities. Coke could choose to give to charities. In this case, Pepsi is choosing between 14 and 3. 14 is bigger than 3, so Pepsi is going to give to charities. So, both of these firms have a dominant strategy. When they both have a dominant strategy, we call that a competitive equilibrium. So, is there a competitive equilibrium? Yes. Both give to charities. Okay? That's the outcome that's going to happen if they don't collude at all. It's the outcome that will occur in a competitive environment. So, I'm just going to circle it here. This is what we expect to happen. The next question here, in the list of questions I've already pre-made, is this a prisoner's dilemma scenario? If so, explain. Well, the only way you're going to have a prisoner's dilemma is if there's a competitive equilibrium. So we know there's a competitive equilibrium. Having a competitive equilibrium means it's possible that there could then be a prisoner's dilemma scenario. I guess that means it's a necessary but not sufficient condition. So having a competitive equilibrium is necessary for there to be a prisoner's dilemma, but it is not sufficient to guarantee that it will occur. Okay? For there to be a prisoner's dilemma scenario, there needs to be an outcome where both firms could be made better off if they switch. Both firms need to be better off. So, don't look up here and be like, well, Pepsi could get $100 million here, because Coke hates this outcome. So this outcome is not going to happen. All right? Is there a scenario where both would be made better off? Yes, there is. They would both be better off if they were up here keeping their profits. Okay? So yes, indeed, there is both would be better off keeping their profits. Both would be better off keeping their profits. And I think that outcome kind of makes sense, right? If they both keep their profits, then neither of them looks like the bad guy, right? If they both give to charities, yeah, they both look good, but both being good doesn't really help all that much. If you're both giving to charities, you're having to fork money over to charities. Not great. If you both keep your profits, well, neither of you looks like the bad guy, neither looks like the good guy either. You're still going to keep your customers because you're really the only two businesses in town, right? So let's think about the prisoner's dilemma scenario here, okay? Clearly, they'd be both better off if they kept their profits. Let's think about why that wouldn't happen, okay? Let's think about why this prisoner's dilemma scenario probably won't occur in the real world, okay? So I'll be Coke, you be Pepsi, all right? I'm the CEO of Coke, you're the CEO of Pepsi. I come up to you and I say, look, all right, I know this is against the law, but here's the deal. Think about, I'm gonna lay all my cards on the table. Think about where we're at. Here's our profits right now, okay? And what I've estimated is if we both kept our profits, this is what we could generate, all right? We would both be better off if we kept our profits. So I'm not gonna give to charities if you don't give to charities. So you're Pepsi, what do? You might be thinking, we'll just keep the money. But the problem is, if I come to you and I do that, and I say, look, I'm not going to give to charities, what's the worst case scenario? You believe me, all right? You believe me, but then I go against my word, and I actually do give to charities, okay? So I convince you we're going to collude and keep our profits. You believe me, so you keep your profits. But then I decide to backstab you and give to charity, okay? If I give to charities and you don't, I look great all of a sudden. People are going to be buying my products just to support my business. So can you trust me or not? That's what's tough, all right? And that's what prisoners' dilemmas are usually about. The competitive equilibrium, all right, is going to occur unless we can somehow trust each other to make a move that makes both of us better off. And that's the end of the lesson and the end of chapter 25.